Seriously?
Yes.
Lego.
Just be open.
Piece by piece. You may have noticed that one of the biggest trends in Hollywood that's going on as of this review is taking the life of some of the most acclaimed music artists in history and turn them into the next big biographical feature. Of course, they've always been a thing for decades, from Amadeus to Selena to Ray to Straight Outta Compton, but when Bohemian Rhapsody told the story of Queen and Freddie Mercury and became one of the biggest hits of 2018, just about every studio has since been looking for their own musical biopic to recreate that same success. And there's been a whole bunch that came out with a wide variety of results. Elton John, Aretha Franklin, Elvis, Weird Al, Whitney Houston, Bob Marley, Amy Winehouse, and we still got more coming featuring Bob Dylan, Michael Jackson, and an entire Beatles cinematic universe. Oh yeah, hope you're ready for the BCU! But then there's Pharrell Williams, who decided to really think outside the box for his movie by making it not just fully animated, but to have it be all presented in Legos. Now, I admire that Pharrell found a way to make his film stand out, but I don't know which is weirder, the fact that he wanted his biopic to be a Lego movie, or that this is not animated by Illumination.
Man, this gonna be a Lego movie, bruh.
But as strange as it sounds, I do see some great potential in this. Its unusual approach could help elevate it to become one of the most memorable animated films in recent years, especially when this is being directed by Morgan Neville, the acclaimed filmmaker behind some great documentaries, including the Mr. Rogers doc, Won't You Be My Neighbor?
I instantly was hooked in that idea, but what I realized immediately was that it's not just a one-to-one translation of a documentary, because Lego gives you so many opportunities to go into places you can't. And so that liberation for me, as somebody who's normally stuck in the real world, was so exciting to just play and open up a door and be like, oh, we can go through this door. And that leads to more doors. And let's just keep going and see how far we can take it.
So now that we'll be looking into the life of Pharrell in a very unique way, will the pieces of this movie all come together the same way that the original Lego movie did a decade prior? Or will this movie just fall apart? Let's find out. The story. Unlike the other movies I've mentioned, Piece by Piece is actually a documentary that chronicles the life and career of Pharrell Williams, as the artist tells his story of where he found his passion for music, how he got into the industry thanks to the help of producer Teddy Riley, his collaborations with other artists to create many of the hits of the 2000s and the 2010s, and his own relationship with success and stardom.
Who did that? Pharrell.
One important thing to keep in mind with Piece by Piece is that this is Pharrell's movie. And I don't just mean that he's the main subject, but he is also one of the main producers. I say this because upon watching this movie, it absolutely shows that he's in control of the narrative. Sure, it's to be expected that he is presented more positively in the film, but there is a clear bias of his image where he is shown as the innovator who helped shape what music is today and touched the lives of many who also went on to become big names. Rarely do we get to see some of his faults. The most that it ever shows his mistakes is when he lost focus of his music by exploring different businesses to the point of temporarily selling out. If you're expecting that they'll maybe discuss the darker moments of his career, like the controversies of Blurred Lines or any feuds with other artists like Drake, you'll probably be disappointed. I know this may sound a bit strange as a criticism, but my point is that there's something a little bit weird with how the movie portrays Pharrell as someone who is more than human.
If you know what happiness is to you.
With that said, that doesn't hold the movie back from being interesting. As a biographical documentary, its goal is to educate the audience about the subject, and it does a good job at that. Thanks to Morgan Neville's direction, he is able to make Williams' life flow like a linear story that goes into how he is the recognizable music artist he is today. It's not just a highlight reel that presents the origins of his hits, but they get into the inspiration behind them and the impact that it left in his life and career, thus leading to how Pharrell continued from there. At the same time, it provides an insight into the music industry. With the way Williams helped out artists with some of their songs, you'll learn about the different roles he took on to play a part in their creation, along with how they get made. We're used to seeing the productions from the perspective of the singers and the people playing the instruments, but Pharrell built his legacy with the beats that are the foundation of the songs.
Alright, Pharrell, I need help on this rap.
Yes, sir. It's pretty simple. Just let it bounce.
And when it comes to Williams himself, I did find myself fascinated during the moments that go deep. It doesn't happen all the time, but there are a few scenes where he talks about a song he made that holds a deeper meaning, whether it be from his inspiration, like with All Right, or the cultural impact of Happy. Those are the times when I feel like we get to actually know Pharrell and his outlook on life that doesn't have to connect with music. In a way, they both enrich the artist himself and the song to show that layer of what they want to say.
I firmly believe that everybody has talent, beauty, and potential.
While this is technically the life of a person instead of a written plot for a feature, the story that's being told here does feel like it's promoting Williams more so than showing his life. However, what makes this work is the storytelling, presenting how he started as a music-loving teen in Virginia Beach to one of the most influential artists in the industry, along with the songs that shaped his career. It won't tell you everything, but this story does give you an idea of who Pharrell is. The animation. As this is the first LEGO movie under Universal, it's no surprise that this is not from the same team who worked on the previous LEGO movies. Instead, the animation of Piece by Piece was made by Pure Imagination Studios in Los Angeles and Zebu Animation Studios in India, who had plenty of experience recreating the style of the film franchise for theme park rides, PSAs, and even for The Simpsons.
Maggie, stop that! No more playing with your food.
Oh, they're so cute when they're Duplo.
With that said, they proved that they got the qualifications to recreate that look, and these animators understood the assignment. Everything that is presented in this movie is 99% LEGO, with the only exception being the lighting and the smoke effects. Other than that, every person, every object, both big and small, even the water, is all made with pieces of LEGO. In fact, the LEGO Group even created new pieces for the movie to make the culture that Pharrell lived in to be more authentic and accurate. And just like the original LEGO movie, it makes the experience fun and admirable with the way that it transformed the whole world into a LEGO playset. On top of really playing with its creativity to present how they adapt certain elements like the giant size of Neptune, how water comes out of a fishbowl or flows in the ocean, and even how Snoop Dogg is tall.
First of all, Snoop is very tall. And then he's in the studio with like 15 Crips who are all 6'5".
Not only that, but the movie also knows what specific pieces to use. There are times when those details can be important, not just to keep the consistency of scale, but also to choose which can work best with the lighting. When they want to show something abstract, they usually go with the transparent bricks for the glow to come out for the effect that something amazing is coming out of it. That, and it plays around with flat pieces for that Ratatouille-style visual feeling when Pharrell hears music.
I just thought that's what all black kids did, stared into the speaker like, whoa.
And as it brings it all to life, while this was entirely made with CG, it also plays around with the frame rate. While it doesn't do it all the time and can make the movements be smooth to capture the mood of the scene, it generally emulates the look of stop motion to sell the illusion that these are real LEGO pieces, along with mostly keeping within the limitations of a LEGO figure's articulation.
I was always a bad gangster, but you brought out a smile.
Hell yeah.
An additional benefit that comes with this animation style is that it gives the movie some nice humor. It doesn't fill the whole feature with gags like the LEGO movie, but it is often self-aware that everything is made of LEGO and can have some moments to have fun with it. That, and I also like how it tries to keep itself kid-friendly, despite some elements of the music industry being anything but. However, there is one small critique I give to the animation, and it's not related to the craftsmanship. It's just that the idea of this being all presented in Lego animation can come with a bit of a setback. Technically, this is a Lego movie, and as such, there are times when I have to keep reminding myself that this is a true story. The previous Lego movies established themselves as over-the-top comedies with very goofy tones. And from those experiences, on top of the already mentioned humor in the film, I'm not used to seeing that style being used in a manner that's a little more serious where the scenes they are showing are actually real. It's almost like it did too good of a job to be a Lego movie that it can make you forget that this is unironically a documentary based on real events, especially when the sit-down interviews have to also be done in Lego.
Oh, wow. Man, this is gonna be a Lego movie, bruh.
But then again, the more I think about it, the more I understand why Pharrell made that creative decision, and it connects well to what he does. Throughout the film, it explains how Williams made his career by breaking expectations and go beyond the creative norms to build his craft. Presenting a documentary completely in Lego animation is a very unconventional idea, but it helps to make it unique and more memorable. If you're gonna make a movie about Pharrell Williams, why not make it in the same way as he does with his songs by thinking outside of the box and get creative with the scenes, the archive footage, and the clips from media like the music videos to be all remade with Lego animation?
Wow.
Did this documentary need to be an animation? Not really. But did the animation help improve the experience? Kind of, yeah. And it especially helps when the animation itself is great. It may sound weird, but it's a Pharrell move that fits very well. The characters. Okay, maybe it's not right to call them characters. Despite their Lego appearance, these are real people, many of whom are famous music artists that have been a part of Pharrell's life, whether it be personal or professional. But no matter how many are featured, the movie is all about one man, and that is Pharrell Williams. I've already discussed about how he is portrayed in the picture, and that there is a noticeable bias to sell him that he is a musical pioneer. I'm not denying the impact he made, but again, there is a bit of a weirdness with how he is presented as more than human. But to the film's credit, it does get into the core components of his life that shaped himself and his music. It presents his Virginia Beach upbringings and his relationship with his family and faith, the friends he made that helped build his path of his music career, the variety of businesses he was involved with like Billionaire Boys Club, Chanel, Adidas, and many more, and especially his outgoing personality. Similar to his music, Pharrell is portrayed as someone who is very passionate at what he does and jumps at every opportunity he can find to go and expand his capabilities as an artist. For the most part, it did open many doors that inspired many to think outside the box to craft their next big hit, but it also shows how that can also turn against him at times. That same attitude that put him on top was often the reason why he was rejected by record companies before signing with Noré, and how his interest in other business ventures took his focus away from music and let that damage his career. There could be a lot of things to learn from the movie, but one big takeaway I took from Pharrell himself is the importance of balance between success and passion.
Keep open our eyes to a whole different perspective.
On top of that, Morgan Neville himself also appears as a Lego to help coordinate this documentary. Of course, he's not as prominent as Pharrell, but he is on the side as the movie's storyteller to conduct the interviews and carry the picture where it needs to go.
Hey, Pharrell.
Hey, how you doing, man?
As for the other artists in the film, there are several names that both music fans and non-music fans will recognize, from Snoop Dogg, Jay-Z, Gwen Stefani, Kendrick Lamar, Busta Rhymes, and more. They each play a similar role to show how Pharrell helped them to create their next big hit, even to the point of saving their lives like Pusha T, or presenting the other way around like how Teddy Riley kickstarted Williams' career. What I find to be fascinating about them in the film is not necessarily their personalities, but the songs that they collaborated on. Even if they belong to different artists, you can hear the similarities that define the craftsmanship of Pharrell, on top of learning which songs he was involved with, whether they be Super Thug, Drop It Like It's Hot, Hollaback Girl, and Get Lucky. And alongside the ones he created like Rockstar, Happy, and the new ones for this film, they each have a connection with the way they stand out from other R&B and hip-hop songs, and it's thanks to Pharrell's signature approach to music that helped elevate them to become some of the biggest hits that people still listen to today.
Dun, 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 dun.
Drop it like it's hot.
Also, the movie talks to some of Williams' family members, like his parents and his wife Helen, to look into his childhood, where he got his love for music, how he is as a family man, and how his grandmother was his biggest influence to follow his dreams. But then there's Chad Hugo, the best friend since high school and longtime business partner since they formed the Neptunes. As such, it's impossible to talk about Pharrell's life without mentioning Hugo's involvement. But when doing research about the people in the film, what I found out about him recently consequentially made the movie a bit awkwardly dated. Sure, it's not the features' fault, but their friendship is presented as something that's amicably on and off throughout their careers. However, outside of the LEGO world, several months prior to the film's release, Chad filed a lawsuit against Pharrell to get the rights of the Neptunes name, and they both no longer talk to each other. Yeah, safe to say that they don't mention that in the movie.
And that crushed my spirit.
Since this is Pharrell Williams' documentary, you don't get to learn much about the other people other than their connection to the guy and how he helped their careers and lives. But to its credit, it did do its job to give the audience a good idea of who he is, what he does, and how his music changed the industry. It's Pharrell's movie, and it does its job to be exactly that. Just like his music, it sounds crazy in concept with ideas that go beyond the norms of what a documentary is, but in execution, it all works out to give people a uniquely fun time. Piece by Piece is an enjoyably fascinating animated film that is a celebration of modern music and the career of Pharrell Williams. I'd hesitate to say that this is on par with other animated documentaries such as Waltz with Bashir and Flea, especially when this can feel more like a commercial for the guy more so than an honest biography. But with Morgan Neville's great directing that strengthens the storytelling, a deep insight in the music industry, and the fun use of the wonderfully crafted LEGO animation, it delivers a one-of-a-kind experience that highlights how he has become one of the most influential music artists. While I consider this to be an enjoyable watch for most people in general, I'd recommend this the most to music fans, especially of the hip-hop and R&B genre, and those who are interested in learning more about who Pharrell is. I think watching this is a good idea if you need your fix of music with a bit of extra LEGO fun. And if this review made you as happy as Williams' song, then press that like button and subscribe to my channel. You can also donate to my Patreon at patreon.com/animat to build up the pieces to my videos to make them bigger and better. This may not be the LEGO movie, but I never expected Pharrell Williams to make a pretty solid LEGO movie.
Woo! Holy moly, guacamole. Legendary story, yeah?